does it matter if you're a good putter and maybe you're not very good at reading greens, or maybe the greens are reacting a certain way?
It's both.
I mean, there's a combination of many things. The greens, the putter, and if you are really good at reading greens.
Right. What's the other one though?
The conditions.
Luck.
Luck.
It is. I'll never forget this putt. There was a guy that had a putt to win the U.S. Amateur, and he was about a 6-footer, and he was clearly a better player than the other guy. I mean, there's no doubt. This was the 36th hole. He had a 1-up lead, and he had a par putt from like 6 feet to win the tournament. And so they have the camera like all the way down the ground, and this is the most perfect putt you have ever seen. It takes off perfectly. It's rolling right on its line. It's awesome. It's perfect. And it goes along, and there's a spike mark sitting right there, and it curls toward the hole, and it goes poop and hits the spike mark and kicks the ball, and it rims the hole and misses, and then he loses in the playoff.
Oh, that's
so
terrible.
It's like, yeah. So what is that guy supposed to say about what he did?
Right.
He did everything perfectly. So sometimes.
And this was obviously before you could tap it down.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd have a major if it wasn't for that. That's one of the things where it's like, as a coach to yourself, because we're always a coach to ourselves, right? So as a coach to yourself, what do you say to yourself right then? I had a 6-footer to win the amateur and I missed it. Like, did you miss it? The ball didn't go in. If you're not used to thinking of it that way, that can be challenging. So I've always thought of it that way. So if I do my job and hit a good putt, like some bull crap way where it's like, oh, I hit that fine. It's like, no, if I really just made my stroke, I stroked it, rolling the line perfectly, and I rolled it with the right speed, that's a really good putt. So it's like, if I do that, I'm happy. Maybe I'm not like super happy it didn't go in, but in terms of what I did, I'm not going to walk away and go, I can't make a putt. It's like, no, it just didn't go in.
So what would you say to become an excellent putter? How much time would you have to spend on the practice green, practicing to become an excellent putter? A week.
I don't think you can do it that way. So, because everybody's different. So let's say if I said to you, okay, to be an excellent putter, you need to practice 3 or 4 one-hour sessions a week. Okay, let's say that all you got to do is golf. Okay? So now you get someone who's like a Fred Couples, who now he's out there, and after 15 minutes, he's good. He's rolling it the way he wants. He feels good. He's done. And so now that extra time becomes a negative, where it's like, he's just torturing himself. He'd rather get out of there. It's not helping him. And so some people are like that. I was always a Vijay Singh type, where I could, if you told me we were going to go hit balls for 8 hours, I'd be like, yay. Couples would be like, kill me. I don't want to do that. So it all kind of depends on how you're wired.
Right. But if you're an amateur, right, and you're trying to become a good, let's say an excellent putter, would you spend more time on the putting green practicing, or what would you need to practice to become that?
So, okay, so there's 3 things you have to do to become an excellent putter. You have to hit it where you're looking. So in other words, we can't, unfortunately, I'm sure we both know what it's like to step up to a putt and you hit it, and instantly off the blade, you're like, oh God, it just goes straight sideways, and it never had a chance to go in. So, so hitting it where you're looking has to do with everything about it. How's the launch? We never want to hop a ball when it's taking off. We don't want to drive it into the green. We don't want to fly it up into the air. Side spin indicates how the strike was. You can't hook and slice a putt like you can a full shot, because as soon as it hits the ground, it starts rolling. So that's not a thing. But did I hit my start line with a reasonable launch is really the main thing there. So am I hitting it where I'm looking? The second thing is speed control, because if you don't have speed control, you can't make the putt, because every break has a specific speed for it, really. So now everybody's going to jump down my throat on that one, because it's like you could aim a 6-inch putt and then push it to 9 inches, but not hit it quite as hard, and it ends up going in the hole. So yeah, there might be multiple breaks, but for each break, there's only one speed. So you have to have good speed control, or else you can't read your putts. Okay. The last discipline is reading greens.
Yeah, which I see that is most common with amateurs. They do not know how to read greens. And I play with a lot of amateurs, and they normally miss it on the low side.
Yes. So that's been studied like crazy, where no matter what the ability of the golfer, from the tour pro down to the beginner, they almost always don't read enough. They don't read enough break. So
I remember reading an article that said if you see a break, like play a little bit more than that, which is actually what you were kind of explaining, right?
Yeah, right.
Which I never even thought about that.
I haven't
like,
thought of it in those terms
like
either, but that's right.
Hit above the apex,
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Putted higher than you see. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So there was a guy named Horton Smith, and Horton Smith was the first guy to ever win the Masters, and so he was known for his superb putting, and that was what he used to do. He used to just arbitrarily throw 10% on top of whatever he saw.
Really?
Yeah, just to make sure he's coming in from the high side. Yeah.
Okay.
So that can be a good thing. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I've never thought about it that way, because I often, play enough break, and I'm pretty good with reading greens, but then sometimes you get over the ball and you either feel your body's going forward or you feel like it's not enough break.
Yes.
And then I'm standing over it and I'm like, I'm gonna adjust just a little bit, and I do, and I end up making the putt. But sometimes you don't. You're like, I have to trust my line. And sometimes you actually don't have to trust your line. You have to play that 10%.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And
So
I never thought of it that way.
Here's a